a video on some egg whites that I've got left over. So it was tiramisu at the weekend, and I make it with just egg yolks. I don't use whole eggs in it. So I'm left with some egg whites, and I was kind of thinking, I normally make a fatless sponge with them, whip them up with sugar and then fold in flour and then bake them in the oven, make a fatless sponge and then dry that sponge out and make sponge fingers. Or you could make biscotti, that would work kind of well. So I do things like that, and I was kind of thinking, can I actually make them into a proper cake? So I have to make cake today. So I'm going to do half the recipe with whole eggs, and I'm going to do half the recipe with just egg whites. Just out of curiosity, and what's kind of going to actually happen to it. It might work, it might not. It won't be as rich because it hasn't got the egg yolks in it, but we'll kind of see. So I've weighed out how much 6 eggs weigh. For a packet of mixed size eggs, so there's 11.2 ounces, something like that. So there's 11.2 ounces worth of whites, and then I've got 2 batches of cake mix. Well, I made one, but we'll just kind of do it as that. So it'll be a case of simply adding these eggs as this whips around, kind of one by one-ish. I'm not going to whisk them up beforehand, I can't be bothered, and it doesn't seem to affect the cakes. And then put some flour in, and then we'll do the same for the egg whites. So I've got some more cake mixture, I've got the other half of the cake mixture there, so we'll put that back into the bowl, mix them all together, bake 2 cakes, have a look at them, have a bit of a taste, and see if it kind of works. Just out of curiosity. And if it works with just egg whites, then it will work with a mixture of whole eggs and egg whites. So if you've ever got some egg whites in the fridge and you don't know what to do with them, instead of just cooking them up and putting them in an omelette or something like that, we'll be able to work out if you can actually just add them to a what we call it, a cake mixture. And as long as you add the same weight of eggs and egg whites, kind of do a comparison. So like they're probably like 2 whites or a white and a half per egg, something like that. Egg weighs about 50 grams, something like that. So as long as you do like a weight of egg white into a cake mixture, it should work. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Right, so this is the whole egg one, and this is the egg white one. Doesn't look like there's too much difference in colour. That's a little bit darker, but that might be down to the light. This one, I think that's just a tad softer in texture. I just think that's a tad softer. Don't know why, but we'll find out. So into the oven, and tip that we picked up from the internet: we don't have to preheat the oven. We can just turn it on now, 180 degrees, something like that. This is the egg white one. That's going to go on the low, and that one's going to go on the top. So we don't need to preheat the oven. We're being lied to for years. So we'll see how those turn out. Cakes are ready. Well, the egg white one was ready first, and there is a difference. So just turn the oven off because we don't need it on just for that. So there is a difference. That hasn't risen as well as that one. So I mean, putting them side to side, you can tell. So that's certainly a nicer looking cake. That's just not risen quite as well. So we'll let those cool, and then we'll have a look at them on the inside. I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to use it, but I'm just kind of quite curious. So it's maybe a centimetre. If I'm looking at it, that one's risen a centimetre more than that one. Looks okay, but we'll cut into it, and we'll see how the look once we've cut into it. So it certainly works. Might potentially would have been better whipping the egg whites, and then we would have got more of a lift. I think, but we'll see. We'll see what they look like when we've cooled and we cut into one. But it's still going to get used. I'm not going to waste it. But there we go. Hang on. Right, so they've cooled. Let's have a look. So I have to think about what kind of portions I need to cut them into. Move that one out of the way from there. Yeah, so it's not raised that much. Get it off the paper. I don't want to cut through the paper, I want to reuse the paper. Well, I'm going to put the cake back in the paper, so I don't want to cut the paper and risk ripping it. So, put it there. That's not so bad. It's a little bit denser. It's a little bit denser, but not to worry. And then we'll just... I'm running out of space. I've done too many things. That's what the problem is. I've done too many things today. And the kitchen's full. I did think about having a more of a day off, but no. So, a bit thicker. It looks different. It looks different. And all this sneaky taste. So let's just, hopefully it won't fall off the edge of the board. Fall over the edge of the board. And straight down the middle again. And we can do a... Yeah, that one cuts up. That one, this one cuts a lot nicer. Let's get rid of that half so it doesn't get damaged. So if we do a comparison, compared to that, so as you can see, it's risen a lot more. There's not that much colour difference. There's not that much colour difference. That one's slightly darker. Yeah, you can see something slightly lighter. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but it's denser. But you know, I think you could probably get away with it. I think you could probably get away with it if you had a couple. I wouldn't recommend using all. Actually, it's got a nice crispier top to it. Let's have a cut it. There. Let's cut a cheeky slice out of that bit. No one will ever know. Feels alright. You know, it's going to sound weird, but it tastes eggy, if that makes sense. So it tastes eggy, more eggier than a cake normally does. So we'll just have a cheeky bit out of that one. This is lighter. That's playing about it. So it tastes eggy. Yeah, it's nicer. It's nicer. Comparing them, comparing them side by side, you can tell the difference. That one tastes eggier. It's got a crispier top to it. See that? So that's kind of quite interesting. I think potentially it would have been better if I had whisked up the egg whites to like a soft peak and then combine them into the... I don't know how I'd combine them. Because a fatless sponge hasn't got any fat in, hence the name. Like a Swiss roll. So if you're making a Swiss roll, it's a fatless sponge. And you fold the whisk up the eggs and the sugar together to a soft peak, or quite a firm peak, and then you fold in the flour and then bake it in the oven. So that I don't know how I could actually fold egg whites into a creamed butter and sugar mix. Maybe that's something to think about. Maybe that's something to think about. The probably I'd have to do it again next time I've got some egg whites. But it's all right. It's all right. We can tell the difference. It's a little bit eggy, so there are some differences. But if you had a few egg whites, if you were baking and you had a few egg whites left over from something else, you could put them into a normal cake mixture and you wouldn't really be able to tell the difference. So say you'd have to weigh how much egg whites you had, and then weigh how much the eggs that you're using, and weigh, and kind of, so if it was like, you wouldn't, like 2 egg whites in a cake that was going to be 6 whole eggs, and you replace 2 of those eggs with, or 1 of those eggs with 2 egg whites, you wouldn't notice. You're not going to notice that. So that's certainly a good way of using up some egg whites. All egg white cakes, I recommend probably doing a fatless sponge, but I will try and incorporate some egg whites, whip them first, and see if we can fold them into some cream, butter and sugar and some flour at some point. Maybe, I'm not entirely sure how we do it. Might have to add half the egg whites liquid and then fold in the other egg whites whipped up, because the temperatures, the mixture is going to be quite stiff. So to fold something like egg whites into a stiff mixture, quite a dense stiff mixture, that's going to be kind of quite difficult. So we need to loosen it up with maybe half the egg whites first. Although when making souffles and things, what you do is you sacrifice. You whisk up your egg whites first, and then take a third of those egg whites and fold those into the souffle mixture, whatever you're making the souffle out of, to loosen up that mixture. And it's called sacrificing those egg whites. So you sacrifice those first third of the egg whites, and then the second 2/3 of the egg whites fold into the mixture a lot easier because it's looser. So potentially do that when I have some more egg whites in the future. I can't imagine when I will, because I have got some more egg whites. Let's see how much I've got left. There was other things I wanted to try. So we'll weigh how much egg whites I've got left. I've got that many, you can't really see because it's in a yellow container. So I'll see, but potentially I wanted to see what other things we could do with egg whites while we've got them. So that'll be some more videos to come out, just out of curiosity videos. But it kind of works at a push if you're really desperate, and if you've got, and if you've got a few and you want to incorporate them into a cake mixture to make the cake mixture go a little bit further, then that's fine. Instead of throwing them away or just cooking them or putting them in a quiche or something like that, it all kind of works. But anyway, so kind of works. We found out something, so therefore that's a success.